Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the 33rd Annual Bay County Sports Hall of Fame Banquet. I am your MC for tonight, so you get to listen to me for the next 3.5 hours. My name is Mike Wisdella, and on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame, we want to thank you for coming tonight. We have a great program tonight, an outstanding meal, so we will get started. And our first guest tonight with the proclamation from Bay County will be Bay County Commissioner Vaughn Begic. So please give Vaughn a big hand.
So Mr. Guasdala told me there's a football game tonight about 8:20, so we'll have you out before then, promise. So I'm going to do an abbreviated version so you can look in your book for the names of everybody, but this is from the Bay County Board of Commissioners. Whereas the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame was established over 30 years ago for the purpose of recognizing athletic excellence in Bay County, and whereas the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame will be inducting all those people in the book, and the President's Award will be presented to Mike Vincent, and the Scholarship Award winners will be introduced here shortly. Whereas the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame will be honoring these individuals at a banquet to be held on Sunday, November 10th, 2024. Whereas the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame is to be commended for their efforts in recognizing these outstanding individuals within our community, therefore be it resolved that the Bay County Board of Commissioners and Bay County Executive pay tribute to these outstanding athletes, individuals, and scholars, and offers best wishes to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame for continued success in their efforts. Thank you.
Okay, next up, if you could all stand and remain standing, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing. And for our invocation, please welcome Kathy Dardis, one of our board members. Sorry.
Good and gracious Father, we gather tonight to honor the achievements of individuals and teams who have elevated the spirit of sport. Let us take a moment to reflect on the power of dedication, teamwork, and perseverance. We give thanks for the remarkable individuals we celebrate tonight, those whose passion and hard work have not only earned them a place in the Hall of Fame, but have inspired generations to push their limits and strive for excellence. We also recognize the potential of the future as we award scholarships to those young scholar athletes who are on the path to greatness. May this evening serve as a reminder that true success is built on more than just talent. It is forged through discipline, sacrifice, and the willingness to work together for a common goal. We honor our veterans, those who have served and are currently serving our country. We share gratitude for their sacrifice, their courage, and their unwavering commitment to protecting the freedoms we hold dear. We give thanks for the food prepared and those who shared their talents to create it. We are blessed for the opportunity to celebrate this evening. In your name we pray, amen.
Okay, Ms. Lee Thompson, do you have the list of past inductees? Maybe not. Oh. Next up on the agenda, I would like to introduce the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors. Thank you, sir. It's tough to get old. We'll do the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors. First up, Kathy Dardis, who you just saw. They're all sitting here in the back. If you'd hold your applause to the end, that would be great. Sean Sullivan, who's not here yet, but is on his way. Mike Debo, Ned Clanky, who is our treasurer, Lee Thompson is our secretary, Dan McAvoy is our vice president, and Jenny Thunberg, who is our president that keeps us all going. So a big round of applause for the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors. Also, we have some distinguished guests in the audience tonight, past inductees. When I call your name, please stand up and we'll hold the applause till after everybody is recognized. Brian Bishop, Bay City Central. Jeff Doan, President Award winner. Gene Rademacher. Joe today, I know Joe's here. Where's Joe? Joe's in the back over there. Ed Harvey, right next to Joe. Mike Gakin, at that popular table in the back. Morley Frazier, Coach Frazier, I know he's here. Pat O'Shea, straight back. Tom Sullivan, part of that 94 team. Greg Lewicki from Bangor John Glenn. Jeff Hart, baseball coach, just retired. Jeff. Joe Ricard. CJ Zanotti. Where's CJ? Hey, CJ. Lee Thompson. Chris Willerts. I know Chris is here. And last but certainly not least, Jack Spencer and the Spencer family back over here. If they would just, one of them stand up. I know they're awful shy. So how about a big hand for all our past inductees? Did I miss anybody? Oh, a couple years ago I missed about 3 or 4, so that's a lot of pressure. Okay, next up. We are going to introduce our 2024 Hall of Fame scholarship winners, and to introduce them as another board member, please welcome Mike Debo, who heads up our committee for the scholarship. So welcome, Mr. Debo.
All right, tonight is my honor to introduce to you our scholarship recipients for 2024. The $1,000 scholarship is funded from our fundraising and tonight's banquet. So thank you for taking part in our 50-50 and our raffle tonight. First up, from All Saints, Annika Neitz. Annika played volleyball, basketball, and softball in high school. She was first team all-conference for 4 years in volleyball, first team all-conference 3 years in softball, and was the Bay County highest batting average for 2 years. In basketball, she was first team all-conference 4 years, league champs for 4 years, and district champs in 2024. M-Live Dream Team second team in 23, and first team Dream Team in 24. Detroit Free Press honorable mention in 23, and third team in 24. She was the B Camp, which is the Basketball Coaches Association, individual All-State and academic All-State for 2 years. She was also Bay County's leading scorer and rebounder for 2 years in a row. Annika was honorable mention All-State in Division 4 in 23, and in 24, she was All-State first team. She is All Saints leading scorer with 1,187 points in her high school career and the all-time leading rebounder. I'm proud because I can say I was her coach, and I'm very proud of what she accomplished. Annika was a member of the National Honor Society, president of Yellow Ribbon, secretary of Student Council, and treasurer of the Executive Student Board, and completed the Bay Area Chamber Youth Leadership and maintained a 4.0. Annika currently is attending Delta and is on the basketball team as they're ready to start their season. And she's majoring in physical therapy. So congratulations to Annika. Next we have Dalton DeRozier from Central. He played football, hockey, and baseball for 4 years. Dalton was first team all-conference in the Saginaw Valley in football, first team Dream Team for the Bay Area, and was a Golden Helmet Award winner. He was an Eagle Pride Award for being a three-sport athlete and captain of the football, hockey, and baseball team. Dalton was a Saginaw Valley League all-academic team member for 7 years. Or, excuse me, 7 years? Did you get an extra year? 7 times, sorry. Got the COVID year and plus a few others. Dalton was a member of the National Honor Society and completed the Bay Area Youth Leadership Program and volunteered 144 hours, which included the Munger Potato Festival. I'm sure you served a lot of food there. The Eastside Little League, the Disaster Relief Drill at McLaren Bay Region, and the many more events at Bay City Public Schools. He maintained a 3.98 GPA. Currently, Dalton is attending the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. Your mom told me you had an option, come to this or go to LSU last night, and he chose to come here, so congratulations. And he's majoring in occupational therapy. Congratulations to Dalton. Next, we have Seth Holsinger from John Glenn. He participated in swimming and track for 4 years. Get this, Seth was 14 times first team all-conference in multiple swimming events. He was the 50 free and the 100 free Bay County champ. 3 times he was a champ in the ISC conference. He was a 50 free Bay Area time leader in 24, and it was 6th all-time in John Glenn for the 50 free, and he was the M-Live Dream Team for the 50 free and completed in the state finals in the 50 free. In track, he was 5 times first team all-conference in Tri-Valley, first team all-region in the 200, and 3rd all-time in the 200 and 400 in John Glenn history. Seth was a youth soccer and swim coach, swim instructor, and volunteered many events at John Glenn. He maintained a 3.3 GPA. He's currently attending Aquinas on the swim and dive team and majoring in applied sports science. Congratulations to Seth. Our next is Brooke Schwartz from Western. She played basketball and soccer for 4 years. She was 2-time All-Conference in the Saginaw Valley, 2 times M-Live Bay Area Dream Team, Detroit Free Press Honorable Mention in 23, and B-Camp Honorable Mention All-State in 24. She was first team in the Saginaw Valley in 24 and was the 2nd team All-Conference in 23 and 3rd team All-State in 24. She was a 3-time All-Academic in the Saginaw Valley and was the 2024 Saginaw Valley Scholar Athlete for Bay City Western in the Saginaw Valley League. She was a member of the National Honor Society and volunteered for youth basketball camps and Bay Area Soccer Association and maintained a 4.01 GPA. As you can tell, Brooke is not here tonight because she's on the Delta soccer team. They are currently in the national tournament in New York, which they left today to go. So we wish her and the Delta soccer team good luck in the national tournament this week. So congratulations to Brooke. Next from Garber is Max Fellows. He played football, basketball, and baseball for 4 years. For football, he was 2-time first team all-conference. He was all-state first team and was the 2023 Golden Helmet Player of the Year. He was selected to play in the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association All-Star Game. In basketball, Max was all-conference in the Tri-Valley for 2 years. In baseball, he was 2nd team all-conference for 2 years, and his senior year, he was first team. And he was also named honorable mention All-State in baseball. In 2023, he was the homecoming king for Garber and was the 2023 Bay Area Neck Outstanding Student for PT, OT, and Sports Medicine. He maintained a 3.4 GPA. He is currently attending Saginaw Valley on the football team, taking a redshirt year because of an injury, but he's majoring in sports medicine. So congratulations to Max. And our last scholarship from Pinconning is Kinsey Jackus. She ran cross country and track for 4 years. In cross country, she was 4 times first team all conference, the Bay County champion in 2020, the regional champ in 23, 4 times state qualifier, 3 times all-state finisher, 3 times academic all-state, and the school record holder for the 5K. In track, she was 2 times first team all-conference, the 3,200 regional champion in 21, 3 times state qualifier for the 3,200 meter run, state qualifier for the 1,600 run, and the school record holder in the 1,600 and the 3,200 meters run. Kinsey was a member of the National Honor Society, Student Council, HASA, and participated with United Way Community Foundation and the Rotary Internet Club and maintained a 3.89 GPA. She is currently attending Saginaw Valley and is on the cross country and track team and is majoring in nursing. Again, thank you to support our scholarship winners. As you can see, we have athletes here in Bay County that are doing tremendous things and the leaders of our future. So again, a round of applause for our athletes.
All right, thank you so much, and welcome back to our 33rd annual banquet. I would like to, at this time, give a big round of applause for our staff here at the DoubleTree for a great meal and for serving us. So let's hear it for the DoubleTree. A very good meal this year. Next on the agenda is we're going to have a few words from the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame President, Jenny Thunberg. So please welcome Jenny.
Thank you for being here this evening. This is one of the largest turnouts we've had in the last decade for this banquet. It's great to see so many familiar faces from my perspective. But it's been a great night for everyone that's here, and seeing all the people that came to support our inductees. This is why we do what we do, is this evening right here. It just makes it fun for everyone. Please remember, we have a lot of sponsors in our program as you're flipping through there. Those are sponsors that are supporting us and helping us with our scholarship fund, just like you're helping us tonight with the 50-50 drawings and the prize drawings that we have. All of that money goes back to our scholarships each year. So we appreciate you supporting those businesses and supporting our drawings this evening. I do know that I want to keep this short and sweet. There's a Lions game I'm sure that a lot of people want to watch tonight, and you don't really want to hear from me. But I do also want to let you know that this is not only an induction banquet tonight, but it's a birthday party for Phil Zanotti. We did this specifically for you for your birthday, Phil. So happy birthday. Happy birthday, Phil. Just for you tonight. Good time to have a birthday party and have your whole team from 94 with you tonight, so that's pretty cool. On that note, I'm going to turn it back over and let Mike keep running with the program. Thank you for being here.
Happy 76, Phil. And I am not going to be responsible for you guys being late to the Lions game, so let's get that straight. It's not going to be me. Okay, our first award tonight is our President Award. And what our President Award is, it's somebody that's, behind the scenes, not on the field, maybe up in the press box, maybe lining the field, maybe selling tickets. A few years ago, we had the group from Bay City Central, that group of boosters that were a President Award winner. And we couldn't think of a better President Award winner this year. And that gentleman is from Bay City Central, and his name is Mike Vincent. He's our first award winner inductee of the night, and he is the voice of Bay City Central athletics, and it's Mike Vincent. The voice of Central has been long known for his passion and enthusiasm since 1994. Mike went to Novi High School and CMU, arriving in Bay City in '94. He spent 33 years as an English teacher and retired this past June. Mike's first game was in 1994 as the Wolves went all the way to the Silver Dome. That team right over there, and he has not missed a varsity game since. His famous phrase, "brought down by a pack of wolves," brings the crowd into a frenzy, and I'm sure he'll do that for you tonight. He announces every big play, even for the visiting teams, which opposing fans love. He started announcing basketball in '96 and volleyball in 1998, along with wrestling, baseball, and softball. He also announces the band bounce and the commencement at graduation. His voice is also familiar at Bay Area Youth Football and Northeast Little League. Mike has worked nearly 1,600 events. Mike, don't take my job up here, brother. If you want it, you can have it, but don't take it. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome our 2024 President Award winner, The Voice, Mr. Mike Vincent. Congratulations.
Thank you, Hall of Fame Board of Directors, President Jennifer Thunberg, and Mike, for your kind words. Thank you sincerely for this honor. I'm truly humbled by it. So there's this old comedian by the name of George Gobel. Some of our older attendees might remember that he was a regular on a 1970s game show called The Hollywood Squares. Anyways, George Gobel is on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson one night. And he's sharing the stage with the megastars of the time, like Bob Hope and Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and Johnny Carson. And after about a minute of banter, Johnny asked George Gobel, "George, what do you think of all this?" And George said, "Johnny, do you ever feel like the whole world is a tuxedo and you're a pair of brown shoes?" I totally get that joke tonight. So anyway, in all of my rough drafts of this speech, I kept circling back to a short litany of thank yous, which I think I'll go with. My wife, Marcy, love of my life, we met in 1994, which was the same year I started doing this job that I love to do. And we had a blast that year, and we've had really a blast ever since that year. And turns out if you do something for 31 years, you get better at some things. And one of the things I've gotten better at in 30 years is empathy. Sort of, imagining being in another person's shoes and what they think about things. And Marcy helped me with empathy. I'm still not the greatest in the world, but I'm better than I was 30 years ago. So one of the things I've thought about in the last 30 years is how I would have done if I had lived with someone for 30 years who 3 times a week suddenly started talking like this. "Marcy, would you change the boys' diapers? I have a volleyball game." "Marcy, it's Saturday night. Is there any beer in the house?" Something. So it might surprise you that Marcy doesn't go to too many games anymore. Thank you, Marcy, for helping me find a stronger voice and not getting too tired of it yet. I've told some of you this before, but I actually got this job that I love to do in a card game. It was mid-September in 1994, and I'm playing cards with a psychology teacher, a science teacher, a facilities manager, and a football coach. And I'm losing badly, so I started to slow down the game, and I tried to tell my longest story joke that I knew at the time, and I'm embellishing and ad-libbing. And after I finished telling the joke, our facilities manager, Mike Toyson, said, "Do you want to announce a football game tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah, I like football, it's fun." So the next night, he's walking me up to the press box for a JV game, my first game, and about halfway up the press box, I asked Mike Toyson, "So what does an announcer guy say?" And he gave me that nervous boss look for a second, and then he said, "Well, sometimes the kids on the radio, if they don't know who made the tackle, they say, 'Pack of wolves.'" And I said, "Pack of wolves, I like that." So ended up saying it about 50 times that night and a couple of times since that night. Thank you, Mike Toyson, for hiring me for this job that I still love to do after 30 years. And it does turn out that way. If we're lucky enough to do something that we enjoy doing immensely for 31 seasons, it's probably because a small group of people showed a little confidence in us and decided to deal us a couple of nice cards. In those years, I basically worked with 5 spotters in 31 years. The first one was Darrell Caster, a coworker of mine, and that was seasons 1 through 25. And I've said this quite often, I don't think it's possible to be a better spotter than Darrell Caster. He's one of those workers who focuses intensely on everything he is supposed to do the best that he can do. And he's got an intuitive sense of what his coworkers are doing, and he tries to merge his efforts with what his coworkers are doing to make the work in front of us that much better. Seasons 26 through 28, my dad, Steve Vincent, was my spotter, which would be the last 3 years of his life. And that's something I'm going to be thankful for the rest of my life for that. My dad was a 5'7", 150-pound guard and linebacker in the early 1960s. Started both ways. He played at all the special teams. So he was out there for all 60 minutes, and if you ever talk football with my dad, it might take 10 minutes for him to work that into the conversation. Dad passed along to me his passion for sports and this 5'7" frame and the ability, the lineman's ability to run a 40-yard dash in about 5.5 seconds. I'm not that fast anymore, I used to be. One of the things that I get compliments for a couple of times a year, people say to me, I like how you announce the linemen when you can. You give them recognition. They don't get enough of that. They deserve it. And that was Dad's doing. Seasons 29 through 31, my sons, Ryan and Tyler, became my spotters. Like Darrell and like my dad, they're all about focusing on every last detail of the job that they have to do. And they have this compassion. They understand the importance of recognizing the courage it takes for young people to put it on the line for an unknown variable. On Saturdays, I have a former student, Josh Allman, who works with me. Josh graduated in 2020 and played for Central, and he's still hanging out with his English teacher on Saturday mornings and afternoons in the fall for 10 to 12-year-old football. Josh has an intuitive sense of how important it is for people that age to feel good about being part of something bigger than themselves, and maybe having a few moments they can hang some confidence on in their teen years and beyond. So it turns out that if you get this job that you absolutely adore doing, any successes you have are directly attributable to the people that you work with. Whatever I would have been able to do would have sounded much different and been much less were it not for them. And how lucky is that, by the way? You're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s doing a job that's a blast to do with a devoted coworker, your dad, your two sons, and a former student. And everybody is all about having a blast for 2 hours doing the best we can do. Lucky. So, about 6 weeks after that card game in 1994, I find myself sitting in the best seat of the house in the best high school football stadium in Michigan, about to narrate a playoff game that the entire town is going to be talking about and celebrating for the next 30 years. 6 weeks after that card game. And I look down and I'm seeing more people than I've ever seen at a high school sporting event in my life. The atmosphere was electric, and I knew I loved what I was doing. I don't think I was old enough or experienced enough to know exactly what it was. I just knew it was something bigger than a game. And I think after 30 years, I got a little better at figuring out exactly what that was. I was looking at young people laying it on the line for an unknown variable, seeing if they could snatch a little bit of glory out of the air. I was looking at instructors on the sidelines pacing frantically, racking their minds and their hearts, trying to think of something, anything that would increase their students' odds. I was looking in the stands and I was seeing parents and grandparents and friends and loved ones absolutely aching for their athletes to have one of those moments they could hang some confidence on for the rest of their lives. And I'm looking at the fences in the end zones, and I see alumni 5 deep with signs, pleading with the fates to keep this great, great tradition going. And there I sat in the best seat in the house, and I got to narrate the riveting story happening right in front of me to an audience that wanted to hear every word of it. How lucky was that? And it does turn out that if we're lucky enough to get a job that we look forward to going to every single day, every single night, every single game, we probably shouldn't let too many minutes go by without feeling deeply grateful for the honor of doing it and remembering how lucky we were to get it. After about 1,600 events and counting, I sure haven't. Thank you, everyone, and go Lions.
All right, our first inductee tonight into the Hall of Fame is that diver from Bay City Western who could twist, turn, spin, flip, and tuck. And that man is Justin Laskowski. While at Bay City Western, Justin helped the Warriors to 8 straight Tri-City championships and 9 straight Saginaw Valley League crowns. Justin himself won 3 Tri-City and 4 SPL titles. During his senior year, Justin was undefeated, winning the regional and made it to the state finals at MSU. Justin was then the lead on day 1, and on day 2, he nailed all his dives to reach his goal at states. At MSU, he guttered for all 4 years and was team captain. Justin finished top 12 in the Big Ten and qualified for the zones 3 times. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Justin Laskowski to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks to you for this outstanding award. It means a lot to me. It proves that a dream, hard work, and dedication, you can accomplish anything. I want to thank a few people here first. Thanks to my mom, Julie, my dad, John, my sister, Brooke, my grandma, Jackie, who's 90, sitting over here, who's always cheering for me, and my grandparents are not with us anymore, Ernie, Alice, and Jim. Needless to say, I had a large cheering section at all my meets. Thank you to Mom and Dad for taking me to all those...
Oh, listen.
Oh. All right.
You still got 7 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for taking me to all those practices and meets. My parents were always positive, even when I had a bad meet, and it happens to everybody. They stayed positive and encouraged me throughout my diving career. Now, with 2 boys of my own, and one thing that my parents did that I tried to do myself is to make it as many meets as possible. Now, I cannot remember any meets that my parents didn't make it to. Now, I'm sure there was a couple of them there and here and there, but to me, I can't remember any of them. That meant the world to me. Now, I'm sure that my mom, even at those meets, probably had her eyes shut through about half my dives, worried I was going to hit the board. So. Now, like any typical kid growing up, I played baseball, football, basketball, and I can remember my dad taking me over to Handy for some open swims, playing on the diving boards, doing cannonballs, kind of learning to dive, but little did I know I'd go on to win the state championship and receive a college diving scholarship at MSU. Now, what got me into diving, my sister started taking lessons out at Saginaw Valley through Tri-City Diving with Barry Sesterka. I remember her going out to a few practices, coming home, telling me how much better she was than I. So immediately that fueled the fire, and I said, I need to start diving. So I talked to my parents, said, hey, I'd like to start taking some diving lessons, but I'm never gonna wear one of those Speedos. First thing. So I went to my first practice, only kid on the board on the diving board in board shorts, and I can remember because they were champion, long red shorts, all the high school divers with Speedos on. I felt kind of stupid at the time. But I did have a wonderful time, realized that I could jump higher than most of the high school divers at that time. After practice, I saw the coach talking to my dad. I was wondering what he was talking about. When we got home, my parents told me, Barry said I jumped higher than anyone he has seen in a long time, and diving could be a great sport for me. I was so excited, and of course, I told them, now I need to get a Speedo. So, one practice, that's all it took. Now, it only took me one practice to get that Speedo, but I quickly realized that diving was my happy place. I would go to practice, and any problem, anything that I had going on in the week, in the month, basically melted away. And I hope that some people can emphasize and realize that that's the best feeling in the world. Now, don't get me wrong, diving was such a fun sport, but not only was it challenging, but a social sport, shoot the breeze with teammates, competitors, and then there was some of the crazy stuff you do, like double bounce the board at Bay City Western, try to touch the ceiling, try to see how many flips we could do before we hit the water, how many twists. There was a lot of fun stuff that we did in the meantime, but now my college coach used to tell me that you have to be half crazy to be a diver. You throw yourself off a board, you see how many flips and twists you can do, and you try to enter the water without a splash. If that's not crazy, I don't really know what is. Now fast forward to my senior year in high school, my goal was to go undefeated, win the state championship. Now I had already committed to MSU, and coincidentally the state meet was going to be at MSU. I had a great senior year. I won all the meets and only had one really close meet, which was MISCA, but managed to come out on top. Now it was time for the state meet, the meet that we've been waiting for all year. I was favored to win, but all divers know all it takes is one mistake, one slip on the board, one failed dive, and it's all over. And then that dream comes to an end. Now I spoke with my coach Barry about putting my dive list together. Now typically you would put your best dives first, make sure you make it all the way through prelims, make it all the way to finals, but we decided and it would get progressively worse as you get to finals. Now the last thing you could do is save your best dives for last. Now we gambled that the years of hard work and dedication would pay off. Now I put in the work, morning practices, after school practices, then club practices. I was primed and diving the best I ever had. Fortunately, our gamble paid off on that day. I nailed all my prelim dives and made it to finals. This was exciting because I had saved my 3 best dives till the end. My first 2 dives went just as planned and I nailed them. I was confident with my last dive, but still nervous at the same time. My first 2 dives were behind me, and I was on to my last dive, an inward 1.5 pike. This was probably my best dive that I'd saved till the end, and I'd usually always done well. But just before the dive, I went to speak to Barry. I said, do you have any advice for me? Now I'm thinking he's going to tell me to put my arms up, throw hard, make sure I rip the entry. And at that point, all he said is, make sure you land on your head and point your toes. So after all that work, that was where the great times. Now this made me laugh, and this was exactly how Barry was, a very kind-hearted guy, one of the best coaches I was able to dive for. That helped me to win the championship, or to win the state title. Now this proves that anything is possible. If you put your mind to something, work as hard as you can do anything. Now people go through life in important moments, think back and say, I should have done this different, change this, change that, regret some decisions. I left it all on the table, didn't have any regrets or any of the decisions I made. Now I hope my kids live by that same motto and someday know the feeling I had that I won state championship. Thank you.
If you guys were wondering what that sound was, we have a shot clock back there, if you haven't seen it, and it's at 8 minutes. So that's how long everybody has to speak, and if you don't, 50,000 volts right down below me. So my good friend Jeff Doan is running it. So thank you, Jeff. Our next inductee to the Hall of Fame is that rock and sock and robot boxer, Scott Peterson. Scott Peterson had a remarkable career as an amateur fighter spanning 25 years. Scott would travel the country fighting, but his legacy was created here. From 1993 to 1998, Scott won 6 consecutive Gold Glove state championships while also reaching the national quarterfinal and semifinal. Scott also won 3 ABF titles and participated in the Olympic trial box-offs in 96 and 98, while rising to the top 10 nationally in 1996. Scott was a 1986 graduate of Thomas Lincoln Handy, where he was also on the track team. If you would, please welcome Scott Peterson to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
Try not to make this too long. Good evening, everybody. I'm honored and pleased, thrilled to be here. To be inducted to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame is a dream come true, really. I'd like to give a shout out to Lee Thompson for that phone call, and all the help you've done for me. Thank you. I'd also like to congratulate the class of the 2024 inductees, especially Jeff Box, who was my classmate and teammate on the handy cross-country and track teams in 85 and 86. And he was the anchor on our 3,200-meter school record-setting relay team, which included myself, my buddy Bill Van Tol, Jeff, obviously, and the late Jim Goodnight. Cannot believe it's been 10 years already. Jim, love you. I'm dedicating this award to my mom. I think had I been inducted to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame a few years earlier, she would still be here. I don't know. But anyway, she died like 3 years ago. And I know she's proud and smiling down on me. She was my biggest fan by far, yelling and screaming from the corner, the loudest of anyone. You could hear her all across the whole facility. She got so involved in boxing that she took the class and passed the test and became one of Michigan's first female boxing judges in the state of Michigan back in 1981. I love you and miss you every day, Mom. I'd like to thank my dad, who is also deceased. He was my coach and mentor. He treated me and all the boxers as if they were his own. And we had some pretty big teams back in the day, like 15, 20, 25 guys at one time. If someone couldn't pay for their registration fee, my dad was the first one to help you out with that. He would pay for it, no problem, no questions asked. Never asked for a dime back. If you didn't have money to eat after our weigh-ins in the morning, he'd buy you lunch. He just did anything for everybody. He gave his shirt off his back, so that you could box. He was always in your corner. I'd also like to thank my stepdad, Jerome, for always being there with my mom. He'd always bring his big ass VHS camcorder that he set on his shoulder, and he'd record all our fights, and so not just me and my brother, but the whole team. He would record them all, and we'd be able to go back and watch them the next day or later that night. So Jerome, I want to thank you for that and everything else that you do. Next, I'd like to thank my two coaches that got me over the hump, so to speak. They helped me step up my game tremendously. In 1992, I walked into Art Door's gym, Ador Gym, whatever they call the Ador and Associates boxing team. It's been so long. Anyways, John Militello and Steve Sanborn, thank you guys so much. These were the two most dedicated coaches I've had the pleasure to work with. Almost every weekend, these guys would take our team out across the whole state, anywhere there was a boxing show or a boxing tournament, and it wasn't just me. It was the whole team, the whole kids, the whole experience. These guys got, win or lose, it was just a huge experience for them. In 1997, we had 4 open guys and 3 novice guys fighting in the state Golden Gloves that year. We came home with the team trophy, winning 3 open final fights, and 2 novice state titles. And John winning the coach of the tournament, where he was able to be the head coach for the Michigan national team going to the national tournament in Denver, Colorado that year. His 3 open champions were his son Brian, my brother Corey, and myself. The Michigan team ended up taking 3rd place in Denver that year out of all the other states that were there. I mean, that was just an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations on that, John. Thank you so much. And Coach Steve Sanborn, man, that guy knew how to work me. He kept me at the top of my game, working the pads with me almost on a daily basis. He knew how to get the best out of me. And I will never forget that, Steve, so thank you. Let's see, how much time do I got? A minute and 40? Oh, shit.
15,000 volts.
Okay. I was going to talk about this one time in 1995 where I got caught sparring like 3 days before the state tournament. Had to get stitches in the bottom of my lip. And I wasn't sure if I would be able to fight in the States. Well, we covered it up. Remember that, John? We covered it up with that new skin stuff, and you couldn't barely see it. We trimmed the stitches right down to the lip. So I'm probably the only guy that's ever had a fight with stitches in the bottom of his lip. And I passed the physical. I kept looking down. I'd talk my hand up here by my face. Nobody questioned it. So I fought Friday night with the stitches, Saturday night with the stitches, and got away with it. And I won, and I went to the nationals. So that would have stopped my streak right there. That would have ended at 3 or 2 or whatever. Anyways, I'd like to thank all my friends and family for coming out tonight. Man, it's great to see everybody. My Aunt Florence is 90. My Uncle Herb's like 85 now. Man, these people are supporting me since I was a little kid, 11 years old, and they're still in my corner. And my other head coach where I'm at right now, Ron Earl at Ador's Gym. I'm telling you right now, this is a great guy. Today there's 10 plus former coaches and boxers working out at this gym right now, and they are helping to coach these kids and give back and running the gym, mentoring tomorrow's champions and leaders. And I am one of those 10. So everybody have a good night and go Lions. Right? Thank you.
Before I move on, I want to wish my mother-in-law, who's not here tonight, but she'll be 99 tomorrow. So I know she watches, so Virginia, happy 99th. Our next inductee made a name for himself at Bay City John Glenn and at the University of Michigan, and his name is Roger Safransky. During his junior year at Glenn, he had 38 tackles for loss, and he was also White Pine Conference 2 years, All-State and All-American. His senior year was even more amazing. He was the leading vote getter on the UPI Class A All-State team, unanimous selection to the AP team, along with many offers to play college football. With all the recruiting going on, Roger picked Michigan. Go Blue. He spent 4 seasons with Bo Schembechler in the mid-'70s. Roger played on 3 Big Ten championship teams, went to an Orange and Rose Bowl, and played alongside many great Wolverines. Although injuries hampered him at times, he did start during his senior year. His time at Michigan set him up for great success after graduation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Roger Safransky to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, I want to thank the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. This honor surpasses being named All-State 2 times and All-American 2 times. And it's truly humbling to be here and be inducted into this group of fine athletes. I wish my two biggest fans were here tonight, my mom and my dad. They were always behind me. They always supported me in everything I did. I'd like to thank Mark Jaffe, a good friend of mine who nominated me, and wanted to thank the folks that had voted for me. My wife, Chris, who's here filming, who's always supported me. She's always been behind me, supporting me, and telling me when I was wrong, which is probably 99.9% of the time. And I probably listened to her about 10% of the time. I want to thank my family and my friends. We got 3 tables here tonight, and it's just amazing that I'm such an outpouring of love that they're all here. And in particular, I wanted to thank my newly acquired family. I was put up for adoption when I was a baby, and it wasn't until a year ago that I was able to get the courts to open up the adoption records. And in doing so, it opened up a lot of information. And tonight, my biological brother, Tim, is here, and my biological sister, Marilyn, is here. And we have a brother who just passed away a few days ago, Tom, who was so much looking forward to coming here tonight. And we're heartbroken that he's not here. Wanted to say that when I was a kid, I grew up like a lot of other kids. I was a psychologist, I was a therapist, and I dealt with a lot of kids with a lot of self-esteem issues, and I lumped right into that group growing up. I didn't have much of a self-esteem. When I found out that John Glenn was having a meeting at the gym, I hesitated in going there. I wasn't going to go. I didn't think I was good enough to play, and I didn't know anybody at John Glenn because I was transferring from St. Paul Seminary in Saginaw. And the only exercise I got at St. Paul's was on my knees praying and lifting weights. I got into lifting weights there. And my goal at that time was to lift my weight, which was 210. And so I got over there on my bike just as they were starting this meeting, and I heard all the yelling and carrying on and commotion on the inside with all the guys that were going out for football. And I was honestly, literally this close to getting back on my bike and going home. And finally, I just decided, well, I'll just step in and see where this takes me. Well, got through that, and then we started working out, and I was really out of shape. Jim Doyle had us running laps around the field. And, you always have those guys that were, great runners, 6, 8 of them. And then there were a couple of stragglers, and then there was this huge group of guys that were running together, and then you had a couple of stragglers. Then you had the fat guys, okay? And then me. Literally, I'm not kidding you. Me. Well, that wasn't bad enough. We started hitting. And again, self-esteem, I really wasn't real sure about myself. I started hitting, and it wasn't going too well. And Doyle called me out and told me that if I wasn't going to hit somebody, to get the hell out of there. And I mean, he humiliated me in front of everybody. And everybody was looking at me, and I really didn't know what to do other than run off the field. But I had a little bit more self-esteem than do that. So I decided to, get down in my 4-point stance and just do it. Just do it and see, how good I could be. And I literally ran over the offensive line. I grabbed the quarterback, and I didn't even tackle him. I just threw him down. And boy, did that feel good. I'm telling you, the defense came running up to me. They're all jumping on me, slapping me upside the head. I mean, it was positive reinforcement like I had never felt in my life. And that gave me the drive to get more. It was like a drug. I wanted more of that. So I started running over the offensive line and tackling and running over and tackling. They double team me. I'd break the double team. I'd tackle them. And, it got to the point where how far can I throw the quarterback and how far will the ball go out of his hands? And it was just, and the guys were jumping on me and everything. Well, about 20 minutes into this, Doyle pulls me out, puts somebody else in, and I couldn't understand why. And so practice was over, we're walking off the field, and my head is down, going back to the locker room, and Doyle runs up to me and says, "Great practice, Raj, good job." And I said, "Yeah, but you pulled me out." He says, "I couldn't run a goddamn play with you in there." I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." And I said, "I'll tell you, this was the pivotal moment of my life, because it was at that point that I knew that I could be more, and more than what I ever thought that I could be. So at that point, I was being told by a lot of people, especially a lot of college coaches that were recruiting me, that I was so good. And I didn't believe anybody. I wanted to see just how good I was. So I got into the weight room. I got up to 500 pounds on the bench press. I ran a 4.840. I ran to build up my endurance, to the point where everybody knows what a second wind is. But have you ever experienced a 6th wind, a 7th wind, an 8th wind, a 9th wind, a 10th wind, where you're running and you see your arms and legs, but you don't feel them, and you just run? And I knew that I could push myself beyond any limits that my mind said, "This is too much. You got to stop. You've done enough." Bo Schembechler had a mantra. It says, "Those who stay will be champions." But it meant a whole lot more than just being on the football field. It was beyond that in life, and what your beliefs are. And mine always have been God, country, family, and self. And never be complacent. Be the best that I could be. Doing the right thing, standing up for my beliefs, treating people the way I wanted to be treated, being charitable, and paying it forward. Looking back upon my life, I have the comfort that it was a good life. I lived it well. I did a good job at everything that I undertook. And I feel like I've left a positive mark in the short amount of time that I was here. I appreciate you listening to me. I appreciate this honor, and that's what it truly is. And thank you.
Roger, I know what being last is all like. They used to tie me with a sundial. Our first team being inducted tonight, ladies first, is that great volleyball team, the 1994 Bay City Central Lady Wolves. Under Coach Lorraine Laracy, the Wolves dominated, but the 1994 team wanted to make its own mark. The 94 team finished 47-9-2, making it to the state finals, but coming up one game short to Portage Northern. Coach Laracy was an old school coach using old school conditioning, weight room, heavy ropes, block jumps, and in the pool. All that conditioning would pay off for the Wolves, who beat awesome teams along the way to the state final runner-up. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lorraine Laracy and the 1994 state runners-up in volleyball, the Bay City Central Wolves. Congratulations.
Okay, it's been a while, but I thought I should break out the clipboard again, prove I was a coach. Okay, I'd like to share some history behind what brings us all here today. And I'm starting with myself, so please bear with me. My journey to Central and coaching this team starts as follows. There were no sports for girls where I attended high school. I went to a public high school, and I'm old. There just were no girl sports. But I discovered sports for women in college where I enjoyed participating. This planted in me the desire to coach. I was hired to teach physical education in the Bay City schools in 1971. Remember way back then? In my third year of teaching, I found myself at Central High School. The coaches of the girls' teams there were established and successful, so I didn't see a place for me. However, there was a new high school in town, or was it in Auburn? And they were hard up for coaches. After a year of coaching 3 varsity sports at Western, I was asked to give up one of them. So I gave up the varsity volleyball position and dropped to the JV level. I felt that volleyball was the most difficult to coach of the sports that I was acquainted with. I then took a little detour because I had an interest in teaching and coaching at the college level. I took on the position of women's volleyball coach at Saginaw Valley State University. I did that for 3 years, and I really didn't know enough to be doing that. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But following that, I was awarded the varsity coaching position at Bay City Central. Throughout the years of attending coaches' clinics and the accessibility to other coaches who were successful and in the area, I became more knowledgeable and more confident. I had discovered that volleyball coaches were eager to share their knowledge and insights, and then I had fallen in love with volleyball. Page 2.
You have 5 minutes. You're good. 5:56.
Heather.
I'm just telling you, I saw that.
There were good athletes coming out for volleyball at Central, and it didn't take long for the girls to buy into the program. They were eager to learn the skills and to perfect them. I stressed good fundamentals. As my knowledge grew, so did the skills of the players. Other things that enhanced the girls' training and growth included weight training on and off season, pool workouts, which you may have heard about, AAU club volleyball participation by the girls, summer volleyball camps, many Saturday invitational tournaments, the varsity player-led middle school clinic that we did once every year, Christmas break scrimmages against higher level players, and last but not least, competent assistant coaches, especially Michelle Bonico, who was a former Bay City Central player of mine, and Raquel Beeson, a former SVSU player, who besides coaching the JV team, coached right alongside me during tournaments. As you can see, these ladies put in a lot of time and hard work to become the 1994 state volleyball runners-up. And I continue to be very proud of them. Congratulations, congratulations, ladies, and thank you very much for this honor.
How are we doing on time? We're getting close to getting out of here for the Lions game? Close? All right. Our next inductee is that very tough, mean player with a skosh of an attitude, Pat Corcoran. Pat had a great career at Bay City Handy and Bay City Central. And in 1991, Pat was named a high school All-American and accepted a scholarship to the University of Colorado. Pat spent 3 years at Colorado, blocking 1 year for Heisman Trophy winner Rashaan Salam. Before heading to Colorado, Pat achieved that tough, mean streak in the wrestling mats with a 102-21 record, winning the Bay County, White Pine, and Saginaw Valley League Championships. He also won the National Championship AAU Freestyle in 1990. Pat was known for his strength in benching 430 pounds, moving bodies on offense, and having sacks on defense. He was also selected to the Michigan Coaches All-Star Game, and while at Colorado, the teams went 28-6-2, playing in the Fiesta and Aloha Bowl. Everybody, please welcome Pat Corcoran to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
So I went a little high tech with this one, so I'm on my phone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this incredible honor of being inducted into the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame. Standing here tonight, I feel a huge sense of gratitude and pride, not only in what I've achieved, but in all the people who have helped me along the way. Better put these on. All right. I would like to introduce my wife, Katie, and daughter, McKenna. I love you too. I would like to thank my mom, Kay Corcoran /Prevost, for being my #1 fan and instilling a work ethic in me by example. My father, Richard Corcoran, class of 2011, Bay County Sports Hall of Fame member, for showing me the possibilities sports can open for you. My sister Mary Jo for being the rock of the family. My sister Colleen Lance and her husband Greg and my nephew Nick for traveling out of state to be here today. Colleen's never-ending support and guidance for her little brother is second to none. I would also like to thank the many Prevost and McDonald family members that I have here tonight for always being here and supporting me in all my adventures. I would like to thank the DeLorge family, Officer DeLorge, may he rest in peace, for always keeping me on the straight and narrow. Joel and Patty, who are here tonight with their beautiful families, thank you for your family's endless support of me. Thank you. Nope.
Sorry.
Not that lucky. Joe and Gene Wazinski for all of your support. I would like to also thank Bonnie and Dave Bordon for being there for me through my high school years. Their front door and refrigerator was always open. The Gurkoviches and the Grubers. And now for my ride and die, Jeremy Bordon and Dan Wazinski. Baseball, football, middle school basketball, track and field. If you saw one of us, the other two were not far behind. These two guys even moved to Boulder, Colorado for a summer during college because they knew I was on a year-round class schedule and couldn't make it back home. Jeremy was even in the stands sitting with my parents when I won my national championship in wrestling in Indianapolis. Thank you, buds. I also would like to thank the amazing coaches I have had here growing up in Bay County. Starting with all my Northwest Little League coaches, Pony League coaches from Lee's older brother Keith And Lee was also our team manager, so that's a long time ago. And to Marty Howard's father, thank you. Mr. Wazinski, Dan's father, my first basketball coach, and Mr. McDonald, my 8th grade basketball coach. The only reason I played basketball in 8th grade was Dan unfortunately broke his leg, and I knew I was going to start. So that was pretty much the end of my career at basketball, but I did lead the team in rebounds. So, Officer Lyman, my Kolb Intermediate swim coach. That's right, swim. #1 in the butterfly in the conference, but sadly dead last in the Speedo competition. Sorry, Mom. Handy High football, TL Handy High football, varsity head coach Ron Hughes, rest in peace, and the amazing coaches he exposed us to there. As a sophomore, I had the honor to be a member of the last TL Handy High School varsity football team. Coach Jerry Grant, Coach Tom Sullivan, I can never thank you both enough for your guidance and wisdom. Wrestling at Handy, and this is when it started. And then there were the two most influential coaches that I had the greatest impact on me. They're not here tonight, but they need to know. Tony and Larry Escamilla, Handy's wrestling coaches. These two men pushed me to the physical limits day in and day out during my first 2 high school wrestling seasons. Larry made me mentally and physically tougher than I ever thought possible. I also can't forget assistant wrestling coach Jimmy Ruiz. These men instilled a mental philosophy in me that whatever impossible situation I found myself in, I would say, wasn't that hard. I wrestled. Thank you. Handy baseball, GJ Zanotti. That's all I'm going to say about that. Great guy. That's when he was trying to become a umpire in the big league. So every referee we had knew we were coming days before we got there. Sorry, do a little sweating here. I had the honor and privilege to play for Bay City Central's varsity head football coach, Morley Frazier. Coach Frazier saw the talent and toughness in me and let me run wild over opposing teams. There's this thing called the center stuff I would do. On the first play of every game, for some unimaginable reason, I jumped off sides and I happened to run into the center every single play. So I kind of just wanted to let them know I was there. Coach Brian Bishop, Coach Phil Zanotti, Coach Rademacher, they all helped shape me into the athlete I became. Bay City Central Wrestling, Coach Brian Bishop, Coach Jimmy Ruiz, Coach Steve Goss, who's here with us tonight. These men continue to instill mental and physical toughness in me. Finally, I would like to thank you. I would like to say thank you to the Bay County. This community has been such a supportive foundation for everything I've done, and it's a privilege to be here with you tonight. Being inducted into this Hall of Fame will always remind me of the people, the hard work, and the love that helped me along my journey. Thank you again for this incredible honor, and it means the world to me. Go Buffs.
Good job, Pat. Congratulations, Pat. Our next inductee is that outstanding softball player from the Pinconning area Spartans, Angie Rosich Johnson. She had record-setting seasons at both Penny and Western Michigan University. During her most memorable year at Penny, the state championship year, she was absolutely incredible. The team went 38-1. She had a 0.42 ERA, struck out 369, 20 shutouts, 9 no-hitters, and won the state championship in 20 innings. At Western, She was equally as impressive. 3 top 3 finishes in the MAC, 57-45 record, 669 innings, and 83 complete games. She also earned All MAC honors, second team, and 2-time All Academic, All MAC. If you would, please welcome Angie Roshitz-Johnson to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
Hello, thank you. First, I would like to say thank you to the Hall of Fame, the board, the voting members. Thank you to Lee Thompson for nominating me and for the great articles. The Bay City Times, Mr. Spencer, and all the other sports writers who did such a fantastic job covering softball, all local sports, but just a great job covering especially women's sports. It was fantastic. It's very humbling and very cool to be recognized for just playing a sport that you love. As a young girl, there was no question that I was going to play softball. My mom was a coach, my sister and her friends played softball. The community was just, softball was big in our community. Pinconning had a strong program. We had Essex-Philhampton Little League. You know, Bay City Central had great programs. All Saints. It was the sport. I'm not even sure if our school had a soccer program. I think we do now, but at the time, softball was what you did in the spring. So while I always wanted to play softball, pitching was not something that I thought was in the cards for me. I wanted to play shortstop and hit, but somewhere along the way, people found out that I could throw the ball really hard. I could throw really fast, but I had no control over where the ball was going. One of my favorite coaches along the way, Fred Nearing, he was quoted in the Times as saying that I hit batters everywhere but the bottom of their feet. He was not wrong. Batters were afraid to hit against me. I felt bad when I hit them, unless they were crowding the plate, and then that was on them. But my parents and I had lots of coaches that believed in me. They saw potential. My dad built a giant backstop for me in the backyard so that I didn't have to spend hours chasing balls into the woods. This was not the kind of backstop you could buy at the sporting goods store. This was heavy duty, probably 20 feet high, 20 feet wide. And I would go out in the backyard with my bucket of balls and practice by myself usually. That's how I liked it. But just lots of hard work. But there were so many people that supported me along the way. So without that, just the work alone was not enough. So lots of people to thank, coaches, so many coaches that I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Joan Maxon at St. Mike's and at Pinconning, Ted Chapman at Pinconning High School. He was always the right amount of toughness with me. I didn't usually have, nobody ever yelled at me. I was always a good kid, but Ted would be tough when he needed to. Fred Nearing, Essex-Philhampton Little League. He also helped at Pinconning in the state championship team. He was a very special coach. Kim Warden at Western Michigan. She was one of the big reasons why I went to Western. She was a great support, phenomenal person, phenomenal coach. Doug Gillis was really instrumental. He was the coach that taught me how to throw the rise ball, which is kind of what I was known for. I had a terrible changeup, a decent drop, but the rise ball, that was my thing. People just couldn't hit it. And Doug was, he was a phenomenal coach, taught me so much. So I owe a lot of my success to him. Teammates. You can't be a successful pitcher without having good teammates behind you. So many great players, great people, great friends. I don't remember a lot of the stats and specific details from games, but I remember the people that I played with, the friends that you make, the memories. Catchers. are especially important. And I was not the easiest pitcher to catch, especially early on. So a few, special shouts out to some catchers: Jennifer Arnn at Pinconning, Jennifer Felmley, who I'm not sure why, but she would go with me to my lessons with Doug Gillis and catch for me just because she I guess liked it. But she went out of her way. Kayla Noonan, and especially Shelly Weiss. Shelly was with me from the time we played Little League all the way through Western. We had a great bond, great time together. And I always felt comfortable with Shelly behind the plate. Let's see. Also, I need, not just because they're here, but Kim was another one. I've known Kim forever. We grew up a half mile from each other, played together at Pinconning, also played together at Western. It's just, special bonds with teammates. Denise was a junior at Western when I started playing at Western. She did not have to be, but she welcomed all us younger players in. She was so supportive. She was our team stylist, which was probably not an easy job. I can remember a bus ride where Denise would shape everyone's eyebrows. Must have been a long bus ride, but Denise was social director, stylist, but just always there to support. And even now with the induction, Denise was the first person to reach out, the first person to blab to all of our alumni that I was inducted. I love you. Let's see. I would like to thank just the communities, the Pinconning community at Western, Essexville Hampton Little League. I was always amazed at the support and the excitement that people had for the teams. It was very special. People like Dawn, who are here, Dawn, Pinconning alumni, it's fantastic. And last, my family, my husband Tom. He did not know me when I played softball, but he's my biggest fan now. My daughter Casey, no, she does not play softball, but she is twice the athlete that I ever was, and plays sports that I would never dream of playing. My sister Cher, who's here tonight, she's always been my biggest fan. And my parents, finally. It wasn't until I became a mom that I realized what a pain in the ass kids can be. But you make sacrifices and you do everything you can to help them succeed. And that is exactly what my parents did. From the building of the backstop to the taking to practices and games and always being there, bringing me to lessons, paying for the lessons, making cookies for the team. I mean, everything. Couldn't have done it without you. So I think that sums it up. Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Angie. Congratulations. Our next inductee tonight is superstar hoopster from Bay City Western, Mark Whitbrow. With Mark showing and leading the way, the Warriors won their first district in 1991 and winning season 2 years later using the up-tempo Loyola Marymount style of basketball. Mark was the first Warrior to gain All-Valley first team. Mark was setting records with 192 three-pointers, made 436 of 518 free throws, and had 1,408 career points. After leaving Western, Mark played at Michigan Tech in the GLIAC. Mark was named the most improved player in '95 and was the starting guard his last 2 years. Mark had 570 points in his career, helping the Huskies to the GLIAC championship his senior year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mark Whitbrow to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, it's an honor to be here tonight, and I want to thank Mike and the board for putting this on. What a heck of a venue. All the people that voted And congratulations to all the athletes, not only up here, but in the room, you know. So I always knew when I was young I wanted to be an athlete. I just never knew what I wanted to be. So my parents will subject to this that I think I destroyed everything in the house. Every room was either a hockey arena, a football, baseball diamond, or a basketball court. And I broke windows, I knocked power lines off the house. And thank God my dad never stopped my dreams of trying to be an athlete, and he just kept fixing them. So thanks to my #1 fans, 87 years old, and made it here tonight. So my sisters, yeah. My sisters, role models, you know, it wouldn't be the same life without you two. Taught me what to do and also a lot of what not to do, and taught me how to get away with it. So I do owe you two a lot. It wouldn't be the same without you. My wife, Krista, love her to death. Lucky enough, she helped me build 2 children that are 2 athletes now, and I enjoy watching them play sports more than any of the stuff I accomplished. So Sydney, and one's not here because she's injured. That one's a hard one. So, lucky enough, I had a couple of inspirational people that showed up tonight, and I did not know they were coming. One flew in from Florida, and another one was my best friend. So, who was inducted? Arthur Warner was inducted last year for wrestling, and for those of you who don't know him, he's a wrestler and a boxer. By the way, wrestlers and boxers are horrible basketball players. But they build character in you, because when you play basketball in the driveway and on the courts with them, there are no rules. They call it jungle ball. And I had more bloody lips, bloody noses, broken stuff from my friend Art, who will always be my best friend, but built a lot of character in me, man. It was funny. So Coach Tiedoff, Bill Tiedoff, but I can't call him anything but Coach. He was my, you know, you always have a teacher or a coach you'll never forget. That's the gentleman. So taught me a lot of, you know, you come into Western and we had like a horrible program for basketball, and he taught a lot of people to believe in yourself, believe in your teammates, believe in your system, and be mentally strong. And those are the things I try and instill in my kids. I try and instill in employees that we work today. So he was probably one of my biggest inspirations in high school on what I became today. So Coach, thanks for coming, man. Truly appreciate it. So what does he have when you got a coach like that? He's a guy that won't back down from anybody. So some of my best memories, Flint Northwestern, my sophomore year, #1 team in the state. We're gonna get killed by 70, right? So we go there and we give it hell. So end of the game, we look at the crowds and the whole stand's coming out at us. And I'm thinking, we are not making it home tonight. And Backus, I remember Backus going, Mark, get over here, we're in trouble. They came out, high-fived us, hugged us, and we had no idea, like, well, what are you guys hugging us for? You guys won. They said that was the most exciting basketball game we have ever seen in our life. The final score in regulation was 114 to 103. We had some great defense. So I watch my daughters play now these years, and I'm so excited when they can score 15 points in a quarter. And in that game, we were scoring 7 points a minute. So you want to talk about fun? We had 10 or 12 dunks. Just that is a memory I'll never forget from Northwestern. The other big one that we had was our first, you talked about it, district championship at Western. First time I've ever seen the entire stands packed, standing room only, rush the floor, cut the nets down. I don't think Gottesman liked us for that. We had, that is a memory I'll never forget, and that's where, you know, you mentioned teammates. None of us would be up here without teammates. Lifelong friends. Just, you know, sports is a good thing. Keeps you out of trouble, and your teammates, you wouldn't be up here without them. So that was big. Then my last one was, you know, making the state record, and I think it was 5th in the nation for free throws in a row. And I got to give credit to Arthur Hill, because the day I'll never forget was the time I missed my free throw. And I loved crowds when they'd get on you and they'd be talking crap to you. And they raised up a flag and the whole crowd went silent. Well, I lost focus for that split second. And that's one thing Coach always told me, never lose focus. Arthur Hill, I give it credit to him. I lost focus. They went, you could hear a pin drop, I missed my free throw. So that's a day I'll never forget. But what is kind of funny about the whole thing is, here I am 30 years later, and there isn't a time that I go around and go to Home Depot, go to Menards, and get the old, hey, aren't you Mark Whitbro? You had that free throw record. And my wife, she's about to vomit. She's about to roll her eyes back in her head. And she's like, please stop. Do not talk to him anymore. And so I still get a kick out of that because 30 years later, I still get to do that. And, you know, if it wasn't for my wife keeping us organized, I'd be in the wrong city because my kids travel the country for college soccer and travel soccer. So without her, even though she has to put up with me, she does keep us very much aligned. So thank you so much, honey. And then finally, you know, Lee Thompson, you know, I can't say enough about what you do for our kids. The articles are amazing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. Mike, for putting this whole thing together with the board. We just truly appreciate everything you guys do, and it's something I'll never forget. So, appreciate it. Go Lions.
Nice job, Mark. Congratulations. Our next inductee was a standout in track and field at both TL Handy and Saginaw Valley State University, and his name is Jeff Box. While at Handy, Jeff broke many records in the 800, 3200, and 3200 relay. Jeff was also a two-time Bay County cross-country champ and first-team All-State his senior year. Jeff won the state championship in the 800 while leading the Wildcats to a fourth-place finish at the States. Jeff graduated. He moved on to Saginaw Valley State University, winning many league and district titles. Jeff also excelled in the steeplechase, winning the GLIAC crown in '92 and first-team GLIAC in 1998. Jeff, congratulations on all your achievements, and if you would, please welcome Jeff Box to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame for this. I'm really, really humbled. It's kind of surprising somebody like me could be here. I don't come from an athletic pedigree. I'm not the most talented athlete there ever was. But what I did have was an amazing support team underneath of me. Tremendous coaches, Hall of Fame coach Gary Vandermark in high school, Hall of Fame coach Jim Nesbitt in college. I had All-American collegiate teammates, relay mates. I would not be here without any of these people. Growing up in the southeast end of Bay City, went to St. Hysons, go Huskies. Everybody there went to Central or All Saints, which I thought I was going to do. My parents thought different. That I was going to go to Handy. And that was like being sent to Ohio State. The Jerry Lewis telethon ended in 1983, and I was on a half-hour bus ride going to Handy where I didn't know anybody. It was pretty traumatic. But I did get there, and like out of high school freshman, I wanted to play football. Nope, parents weren't going to let me play football. I was terrible at basketball. I couldn't hit a baseball. Track and field, all right. That was in the spring, but I went to get a physical for track and field, and I saw cross country on the list that you checked off. Had no idea what cross country was. The nurse told me you run around golf courses and parks. Sounded interesting. They put me in contact with Coach Gary Vandermark, and he's like, you know, show up on Saturday. And Saturday, like who wants to run on Saturday, you know? So I did, and I settled into the number 2 guy as a freshman on our varsity team. And by the end of the season, I qualified for the state finals, which was the first individual in Handy's history to do that, which it seemed like a big deal, but I got to the state finals. And I think I finished 3rd from last. And I was ready to quit. I didn't understand how these guys ran so fast, how they did what they did. I didn't know what organized training was. And but Coach didn't give up on me. And 2 weeks later, there was the Athletic Congress hosted an age group competition. So I'd get to compete against other freshmen. And it was down in Flint. And that morning it snowed 8 inches of snow. And lo and behold, I won that race that day. And it was a shocker to everybody. And I'm like, maybe I can be a runner, you know. But inevitably, winter came and it was cold. And being a high school teenager, there was a lot of distractions that we all, you know, we incur. And freshman track season didn't really amount to too much, but I still kind of had a really liking for the sport, and it became something I really wanted to do. So I progressed and got a little bit better and a little bit better, and Coach Vandermark was like, well, you got to run more in the summertime. And again, like, who wants to run in the summertime? You know, it's like BMX bikes, and, you know, I'm working on a dairy farm, making money. But I started running a little bit more, and by my junior year, my ultimate goal was to win the Bay County Cross Country Championship. And we did that in the flood of '85. The course was completely underwater, but we held on and won that race, and I could have called it a career right there. I was pretty happy with that. And but Coach Vandermark kept on me. He said, you got the ability to do something, you know, you need to stick with it. So I did. And then he encouraged me to start running 2 times a day. And he said his old guys from the 60s and the 70s were running at 5 o'clock in the morning before school. Good luck with that. That wasn't going to happen for me. But I started running at night after practice, and that really made a big difference. We had a pretty good junior season. Probably should have been all-state in cross country that year. I was good enough. And the regional meet came, and after that flood at the Bay County meet, I got sick. In the morning of the race, I was very, very congested. I'm thinking, Mom and Dad have a medicine cabinet. I took some cold medication, but lo and behold, that was nighttime medication. So yeah, about 500 meters into that race, I wanted to lay down and sleep. And it didn't go very well. Very, very, very disappointed. Coach was very disappointed. But we rebounded in the track season my junior year. Started winning some county titles, and by the end of the year, we put up some pretty good marks. And next thing you know, it's senior year of high school, and it's like, holy cow, this is kind of like do or die. And definitely trained more that summertime, and won the county title again my senior year fairly easily. And we were one of the favorites for the state finals. We had beaten the #1 kid in the state earlier that year. That day, I had the commitment, I had the dedication. I lacked the courage that day. I just didn't think I was good enough to go toe-to-toe with these big guys up front. I ended up third. The 2 guys in front of me, they deserved to win. I didn't. And I got home that day after that state finals, and very sad, very, very sad. Made a resolution with myself. I wasn't going to let my senior season end up the same way. Buzzed my hair off. I didn't know I'd never see it again. And I woke up every morning and I looked at that, and it made me say, if you're going to look like this at school, you better perform. And I did. Make that very, very dedicated effort. That winter after cross country, it was cold and wet, and Coach Vandermark recommended running the hallways at Handy. And let me tell you, I ran thousands and thousands of laps around the second floor of Handy's hallways after school, all through winter. Coach Vandermark set up a really, really tough indoor track schedule where he had me competing at everything from 300 meters through 2 miles. And we rarely lost that year. We qualified for the state finals in the 600 meters, 800 meters, and the mile. The only person in Michigan to do so. They only let you run 1 race, and Coach V wanted me to run the mile, which we had the #7 kid in the United States and the state record holder in that race. I ended up 5th, which was pretty good. Should have ran the 600, as I had beaten that kid twice, and he won that. But nonetheless, I was on the big stage then, and it felt good. And getting your name in the paper, your picture in the paper, it was pretty cool. So outdoor season came, and the momentum was really, really in place. And we were undefeated that year over 800 meters. Coach wanted me to, he really thought I was a miler more than a half miler. I really liked the 800 meters. And at some point during that season, I decided I wanted to try to get selected for the Midwest Meet of Champions, which at that time period in the 80s and 90s was the primetime event. It was an all-star team from Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. They took 2 people from each event. To be selected to that meet, to that team, you were in rare air. And we got down to the state finals. I won the state meet at 800 meters, but my time was, I won't say mediocre, but I knew it wasn't going to be good enough to compete with the Class A people. And sure enough, the Class A it's a deeper, more competitive field at Class A back then. They did run faster. I thought my hopes of that were gone. But I got a phone call the next morning, Sunday morning at home, and Coach Jenke, I don't remember which high school he coached at, but he was the Midwest coach for Team Michigan. He asked if I would run anchor leg on the 4x800 for Michigan. I said, yep, sure. And I got down there, and then I was shocked to see who my teammates were. These guys were legendary guys. And boy, this time goes fast when you're up here. Long story short, I did run the anchor leg for that. We won that event. We won the event title for Michigan. I was elated. I decided to go to Saginaw Valley. Hall of Fame coach Jim Nesbitt was there. He had a great reputation of building strong middle distance runners from small schools. I went there, won the district meet, won the conference meet as a freshman. I had great teammates. We teamed up at the 4x800 at Nationals. We won the fast section at the national meet in Kansas City. The slow heat, actually, they pipped us by 1 second. They ran faster in the second heat, but still All-American national run-up was just fantastic. I couldn't really ask for much more. But we went on, we moved up to the 1,500 meters, the mile, won conference titles at 1,500 meters, and then by the time junior and senior came, moved to the steeplechase. If you don't know what that is, YouTube it. It's a pretty demanding event. Won GLIAC at that. Did not qualify for nationals. I was always 2, 3, 4 seconds short. Coach set up a meet in Naperville, Illinois. Great meet, a lot of All-Americans there. Got to the first barrier of the steeplechase, was pushed, fell over head first over the barrier, got trampled by everybody. Got up and finished third, and 2 seconds short of qualifying for nationals. Went to the hospital next day, my arm was broken 3 places. That kind of ended my career. And not a whole lot more to say about that. I wouldn't change many things. In many levels, I overachieved, and I also left a lot on the table. I guess in some nation, that's about it. It was a short career, but for somebody like myself to do what I did, I can't thank everybody around me enough. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much.
Okay, our final inductee, our final team being inducted tonight is the team that was state runner-up in 1994, the football team that everybody followed, the Bay City Central Wolves. The 1994 Wolves went 8-1 during the regular season to secure the playoff berth. The tradition-rich Wolves were the first playoff team in the history of Central football. During this incredible run, the Silverdome team beat some magnificent teams. First to fall was Muskegon, followed by Grand Ledge and Westland John Glenn. Finally getting to the Silverdome, falling to the Troy Colts 17-0. To tell more about this tremendous team, please welcome head coach, Hall of Famer, Morley Frazier, in the 1994 Bay City Central Wolves to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame.
I have all the players and all the coaches from our 94 program coming up. Right up front here. Coach Bishop, Coach Feldman, Coach Thompson, Coach Ananda, come on up. I'm very aware that the Lions kick off in 45 minutes. I'm also aware that the final season of Yellowstone starts in 30 minutes.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah. As they make their way up, I would like to also thank the Bay County Hall of Fame Committee for all the work they do, selecting these kids, putting on the banquet. They spend endless hours doing this. Also special thank you to Lee Thompson, who does such a great job with all the articles. He puts so much input, calls people, does a great job with those. Lee was a young reporter back in 1994 when we went to the state finals. He worked with 8 other sports reporters at the Bay City Times. He now carries a load by himself, and we appreciate that. I'd also like to congratulate all the other inductees. It's a great honor, especially Andy Central football player Patrick Corcoran. Thank you, Coach. The best PA announcer, in the state of Michigan, Bay City Central Dome, Mike Vincent. And our tremendous 1994 girls volleyball team that went to the state finals. After our season was over, we were feeling pretty good about ourselves. We thought we were pretty good athletes, so we would take on the girls volleyball team in a match, a 3-set match. I was up on the ladder officiating. Coach Laris, who's down below. I cheated on every single point, and the girls still beat us 3-0. Great, great volleyball team. The success of our team just didn't magically happen. It takes the work of a lot of people, and I'd like to thank those people. We had an administrative staff of Dale Martin, Joe Gonzalez, George Charles, and Tim Tobin. They all understood the educational importance of athletics in a student's life. George Charles would get on the gym floor for our pep assemblies and lead in the central cheer, give me a C. Well, as the season went on, we kept winning. George kept getting a little more excited. And after a big victory, he went and gave a pep assembly. He forgot the A when he spelled Central. And not wanting to jinx us, we won the game. For the rest of the season at our pep assemblies, he would do the Central cheer without the A. He was very loyal to our program. Our booster club, the Steins, Laskowskis, Urbans, Skillmans, and the other hundreds of people that gave hours and hours to our kids. Nobody bleeds purple and gold like our booster club. The fans of Bay City, at every stop we made, they would fill our stands, spill over to our visitor stands. When we took the field at Elmer Eagle Stadium for our first playoff game ever, it was so loud you could feel it pounding in your chest. When we went to our next playoff game on the road, we went to Grand Ledge. We arrived there 2 hours early. There was already 4 fan buses there. Our fans were standing on top of the buses. I don't think it was because of the coffee they were drinking that got them up there, but that's the kind of fans we had. When we went to the Pontiac Silverdome to play in the state finals, the MSA said it's the biggest crowd they've ever seen on one side of the bleachers. It was incredible. And after our tough loss, we came home on our bus ride in all the way from I-75 to Central High School. There were fans on every corner with banners cheering our team all the way to the school. And then in the gymnasium, it's the last place we wanted to go after losing. When we walked in, there were 3,000 screaming fans for one last pep assembly, for George to get one more cheer without the A. Incredible, incredible fans. The coaching staff. Our freshman staff made up of Tom Brady, Patrick Corcoran, Rich Kowinski, and John Laverty. Took kids, many who had never played tackle football, and instilled in them and what it meant to play football, be a football player at Bay City Central. JV staff, Tom Sullivan, Brian Bishop, Eric Anderson, and Chris Hoyle. Continued the developmental process of those kids, so when they were done, they were ready for varsity football. And the varsity staff, Gene Rademacher, Phil Zanotti, Dale Clyde, Jeff the Wolfman Thompson, they put in so many hours, not only for practice, but for games preparing the kids. The Zanotti family, let's start out at the beginning of the year for just a lineman to have a team dinner on Thursday night, evolved in the whole team, coming over to their house, their parents' house, to put on a pasta dinner for our team. After our games on Friday night, Mark would take the whole team to the church rectory, he would feed them, so the team could stay together, bond, watch films, share with each other. It's an incredible experience. I thank them. And the stars of the show, our 1994 football team, 50 players strong, made up of players from all walks of life, every corner of Bay City, a true blue-collar team. They came together, they set aside their own personal goals, their wants, their ambitions to put their team first. Harry Truman said it's amazing what you can accomplish when no one cares who gets the credit. That was this team. We've had some talented teams at Bay City Central. This one included. We sent 11 kids on to play college athletics, but we never had a team this unselfish and this hardworking. They competed so hard in practice to make themselves better, to make their teammates better. Coach Zanotti, Coach Rademacher had a lineman-linebacker drill called In the Box, where they would battle it out. We had a secondary drill called Goal Line Challenge. They were wars, they were bloody, but our kids loved it because they were competing against each other to make themselves better and to make their teammates better. You can always tell the makeup of a team how soon they get to the locker room before practice, and how long they stay in the locker room after practice. These guys never wanted to leave. They loved hanging out with each other. When we lost in the state finals, the loss was tough. But the realization that this was the last time they would compete together was tougher for those kids. These are all the things necessary to become the winningest team in Bay County or Bay City Central history, and still the only team in Bay County to ever play in the MHSA finals. Gentlemen, congratulations on being inducted to the Bay County Hall of Fame, a well-deserved honor. Thank you.
Nice job, guys. Again, thank you, Renew Physical Therapy, all of our sponsors. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would everybody stand and give all of our inductees tonight a standing ovation for all their accomplishments. Everybody drive safe. Thank you once again for all your support, and we'll see you next year.